All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolute critical role of lead auditors when it comes to conducting AI management system performance reviews under the ISO/IEC 42001-2023 standard.
As a lead auditor, you're essentially living a double life. On one hand, you're deep in the weeds, analyzing this highly technical, granular risk assessment data. But at the exact same time, you have to zoom out and make sure the AI system is actually adapting, learning, and building macro-level resilience for the whole organization. It's this really delicate balancing act, blending the micro with the macro to keep the entire system secure.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll be looking at evaluating system effectiveness, aligning with ISO objectives, gathering review data, conducting root cause analysis, and finally documenting corrective actions, also known as CAPA.
Let's start with Section 1, Evaluating System Effectiveness, the core mechanics.
Now, the engine driving all of this is the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. This is your core methodology for continuously evaluating how effective the system is under the ISO standard. Because let's be real, you don't just set up an AI system and walk away. You plan your objectives, implement the actions, continuously check your results, and then, crucially, you act to make further improvements based on whatever you find. It's a continuous loop.
That means a performance review is absolutely not just a compliance checkbox you randomly mark off once a year. It's a systematic evaluation. It is an active, relentless hunt for opportunities to improve how the organization governs its AI. You're looking for maximum efficiency and strict, undeniable compliance.
When you're in the middle of this evaluation, you've got to focus your energy on a few specific operational areas: risk management effectiveness, stakeholder engagement, process effectiveness, and the status of any previous corrective actions. Looking at all of this gives you a holistic view, verifying that the system is actually managing risks across the entire organization rather than just being isolated in some IT silo.
Moving on to Section 2, Aligning with ISO objectives. This is the big why.
At the very heart of information security, we have this holy trinity: confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Every single AI system has to uphold these three pillars. As the auditor, your review has to definitively verify that sensitive AI data is locked down against unauthorized access, that the algorithms absolutely haven't been corrupted, and that the systems are actually online and available when authorized users need to use them.
But it's not just about building a digital fortress. Beyond basic security, your audit outcomes have to guarantee organizational resilience. What does that mean? It means your incident management and disaster recovery procedures aren't just theoretical documents sitting on a shelf. They need to be actively tested and updated, because if that AI system goes down, how fast can the business actually recover? Your audit has to answer that question without a shadow of a doubt.
Which brings us to Section 3, Gathering Review Data, the Auditor's Evidence.
To build a truly complete picture of the management system's performance, you've got to pull from the right sources. We're talking security incident reports, internal and external audit reports, risk assessment findings, and your KPIs. By meticulously examining these incident logs, breach histories, and system uptime metrics, you're taking subjective feelings about the company's security and transforming them into a cold, hard, data-driven reality.
Next up, Section 4, Conducting Root Cause Analysis. This is where we find the truth.
Let's dive right into root cause analysis, or RCA. This is your systematic investigation process to uncover the fundamental, underlying reason a compliance gap actually happened. The goal here is simple. We aren't just slapping a Band-Aid on a symptom. We want to cure the underlying disease in the management system so this failure literally never happens again.
Consider this real-world example, an AI loan approval system that was rejecting minority applicants at a disproportionate rate. Now, if an auditor had just noted that high rejection rate and moved on, the company would have never fixed the actual problem. They had to dig much deeper to find the historical bias that was embedded directly in the training data itself. So whenever an AI system fails, you have to be relentless. You need to interrogate the process by asking one single driving question: why did the AI system fail? That question should be your absolute mantra as a lead auditor.
It's absolutely crucial to clearly separate the surface-level symptoms from the systemic root causes. A backup server going offline? That's just a symptom. The lack of standardized configuration policies, that is your root cause. Biased loan rejections? Symptom. Discriminatory historical training data? Root cause. Your job is to ensure the organization fixes those underlying mechanisms.
One of the best ways to get there is the 5 whys technique. Let's walk through it together. Why did the backup fail? Well, misconfigured server. Okay, why? Lack of documentation. Why? No standardized process. Why? No policy. Why? Because it wasn't prioritized by management. See how that works? As a lead auditor, using this rapid-fire interrogation lets you drill all the way down from a technical IT glitch to a fundamental lack of management focus. And finally, Section 5, documenting corrective actions, commonly known as CAPA.
For CAPA documentation to actually hold up, you have to follow an exact sequence. 1. Document the root cause. 2. Define the immediate corrective action to stop the bleeding today. 3. Establish a preventive action to make sure it doesn't happen tomorrow. And 4. Conduct an effectiveness check down the line to ensure the fix actually worked. Following these exact steps guarantees absolute traceability and verifiable compliance. You also have to explicitly document that these findings are escalated to top management during a management review. These performance review findings have to be elevated for strategic decision-making. Why? Because senior leaders are the ones holding the checkbook. They are ultimately responsible for allocating the money and the manpower required to actually implement those systemic fixes we just identified.
Which brings us to our final thought. The entire point of the standard is to create a culture of ongoing vigilance and adaptation against ever-evolving threats. So as you wrap up your audits, you have to ask yourself, are your performance reviews merely checking compliance boxes, or are you actively shaping a safer, more trustworthy future for AI? It's a massive responsibility, but hopefully this explainer has given you the exact framework you need to go out there and execute it flawlessly.